Hello friends, and welcome back to Hey Mishka. Today I'm excited to share a festive, uplifting, colorful DIY project that's guaranteed to brighten up a doorway or wall. By now you've probably guessed that this project is a wreath, specifically one designed for spring and summer. I've always loved hanging up wreaths during the colder months, but I've recently fallen in love with warm weather wreaths too. I think decor like this reminds you to soak in the seasons, slow down, and enjoy life a bit more. First, you'll need some wire cutters. I bought a kit of craft tools that came with wire cutters, and I think they worked great. I'll leave a link to this kit in the description box. Next, you'll need a selection of faux foliage. Artificial flowers and stems are all over the internet, and they do vary greatly in quality. I have a favorite shop on Etsy that I like buying from, so I'll leave a link to this shop below. You're going to need a base for your wreath, obviously. The look or style you're going for can definitely influence this decision. I personally love willow wreath bases, and the shop I got these from isn't stocking them right now, but you can search around and find them in craft stores, Etsy, Amazon, eBay, etc. Next, you're going to need a hot glue gun and a stockpile of glue sticks. I like buying glue sticks in bulk because it's pretty easy to go through a few of them in one project. Never underestimate the amount of glue you're going to use. I also like to have a piece of paper handy that can catch any glue drippings as well. When you're ready to begin and your workspace is set up, you can start by looking at the stems and selecting the ones you'd like to apply to your base first. Do a bit of visual experimentation. Some may be bolder or thicker and could overwhelm more delicate pieces, so just think about that when you're deciding which order to use them in. Once you've made some aesthetic decisions, cast all second guessing aside and just begin. Starting a new project is always the hardest part, but you'll find that you'll get into a creative flow. Start by separating pieces of stem from the bundle and clipping them with your wire cutter. One important tip. You're going to insert the stems with the grain of the wreath base. So as I'm doing here, this just helps you create that lovely spray effect that looks so festive and have them sort of positioned in the round shape of the base. If you stick them straight in, they're going to just sort of awkwardly point forward, and we don't want that. Apply some glue to your first stem and slide it into the base. Now this first stem will be both exciting and stressful because if it doesn't look perfect, you'll be tempted to remove it. Instead, you can use binding wire to make these stems behave a little bit better if needed. It's not really necessary, but it can add a bit more security so that the wreath will last longer, and also if you just have a stubborn piece sticking out, you can sort of adhere it to the base. For this project, I'm just going to be gluing pieces on, and then at the end, I will lightly wrap some binding around. Continue to glue and insert your stems along the base. I knew I wanted to decorate part of the base instead of the entire wreath, so I had that in mind when I was applying my first eucalyptus layer. To finish this part off, I clipped off a few stray leaves, or I might have just found leaves that had fallen off and decided to glue them in to sort of make it a little more full. I chose a spring color palette that I thought was really refreshing and light. I just love the way the green paired with the yellow and the peach and the purple. Some stems will be made with plastic and they won't have wire inside, but you can always glue things into place. Hot glue is basically magic. Once again, I clipped some leaves off of the ball stems to fill out the wreath with green, and you'll see me add those later. I thought mixing berries in with the flowers would just add a little more dimension and life to the wreath, and I really like how they looked. So I recommend, when you're picking out your flowers and berries or whatever foliage, think about shape and texture and color, and I guess the season, and see how they all go together. I like the idea of these little buds that look like they haven't bloomed yet, which feels very springy to me. To really get the spray effect of the wreath, I used longer stems of lavender, which were really amusing to cut. Every time I clipped one off, they sort of flew up in the air and left this lovely spray of whatever powder had been applied to create the color and texture. If you're sensitive to things like this, you might want to wear a mask while you are decorating your wreath. I do apologize for not holding the wreath in front of the camera for some of these moments. I sometimes get into craft mode and I forget about production mode, and then editing me later gets very frustrated. So at this point, I was feeling pretty happy with the wreath, but as I mentioned, I went back in with some loose leaves to add more fullness. And as I said, those lemons in the background, I didn't end up adding them. They're so cute, and I just think, they'll be fun for another project, but they would have probably overwhelmed this one. As a final measure, I wrapped some craft wire around the base, moving the leaves and flowers out of the way. This is just in case the wreath is hanging outside on a windy day and the glue needs a little extra help to hold everything in place. And here's my finished wreath. I gave this to Mom for Mother's Day and she seemed really happy with it. For a first attempt at making a wreath, I thought it came out pretty good, and I'm kind of excited to make another one. Be sure to check out the link in the description if you'd like to browse the same faux flower shop I bought my stems from. And as always, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my future videos. I post DIY projects, vlogs, and thoughts on creative living. I hope you're having a lovely end of spring, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!